we're moving into the spoiler component of the review now. So if you haven't seen this, get on out of here, because there's some really, really cool stuff that you shouldn't. If you haven't seen this and you plan on seeing it, don't spoil it. Like, it goes places. So, it's sort of tough to know where to begin. So, do you guys have any particular through line that you want to talk about? Maybe the through line is that there was no through line to this whole series. There was no major plot sort of really driving it through. I mean, you had the sort of the front half with that weird, mysterious, experiment, the people doing the experiments, the nuclear family, and then the back half, it's sort of, where's it going? And then by the end, you know exactly where season 2's going. But I think that ties into what you were saying, Connor, in that it's more the character plots rather than like an overall thread. And I think as an origin story, if this, you could quote unquote call this that, it works really, really well. And I love the fact that they went with that.
Yeah, so I think if you're talking about a main thoroughfare, like the main plot centers around Raven, obviously. I mean, it starts with Raven, it really ends with Raven. So that's really where the crux of the series lies. I'll get right, because we're talking about plot, I'll get right into my biggest issue with the plot, which is episode 5. Where they meet up with Beast Boy, and it's really where the team comes together and is formed. That for me was really the weakest out of all of the episodes, and it just, as I said before, and mark it up, it's very contrived.
It's just the one bing. It's this one.
They all demonstrate their powers.
It's just the one when they go to the facility. They're all...
No.
Oh.
This is the one where Raven goes and meets in the house with the doctor. The doctor was really weird. It looked like there was a young guy trying to play an old guy. They just happened to they just happened to, in the woods, run into Gar, and then from there, Gar just happens to live with a bunch of superheroes who he meets Raven, is like, yeah, just come on and live with me now. Like, that to me just felt like that's a bit too much. That's kind of where my limit lies. I would have liked the plot to progress a little bit more naturally, without, and that's where I felt like I was being pushed on this journey. I was like, just slow down a little bit. It's fine. Can we just?
There's also a rather uncomfortable, I feel, slight hint at romance between Beast Boy and Raven.
Yeah.
Who are 14 and 23 years old, respectively. And I don't know if the show's really aiming for that, but I can't help but feel like, when they first meet, it's kind of like a meet cute. They're like, oh, what are you doing? He acts all nervous around. I'm like, let's leave that alone, please. I did love in that episode, this is just a small thing, but when it really informs why I love Coriander so much, just when the nuclear family all get their heads blown off, and she walks in and is like, fuck, Dixon, I think I did this.
Yeah. Really enjoyed that.
So how about the episode before that? Because we're probably not going to come back to it. It's very standalone. The Doom Patrol episode, kind of signaling the spin-off, because that's in the works. Doom Patrol.
Way more excited for this now.
Maybe I am talking about 4. That's where they go to the house with the doctor.
Yeah. Robot Man and...
Yeah, okay, maybe, sorry, this might be... I am thinking about 4. Sorry, my criticism is that.
Okay.
Just that. Sorry, yeah. I'll go back and make sure that we're all on the same page. It's when she blows it up and then she runs into Gar in the forest randomly, and then he takes her to this house filled with other superheroes randomly. That to me just felt just a bit too much. Like, just, we don't need this.
I could see it being a turn-off for people. That was one episode that really really bolstered my confidence in it. The fact that they just were like, yeah, fuck, here's Robot Man. I'm like, wow. Like, can you imagine the DCEU being like, yeah, here's Doom Patrol, here's Robot Man. Yeah. And I'm like, this is fucking cool.
I loved how the robot guy's real photos was Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
So he's voiced by Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Well, how do you say his name?
Brendan Fraser.
Is it Fraser?
Yeah, it's not like Fraser, the show.
Fraser Crane. Yeah. Oh, baby, I hear the blues are calling. I love that. That was a fun little detail. So that episode didn't bother me at all.
Again,
and I like seeing all the quirkiness of the characters. It's like, wow, we've got so many oddballs in here. Let's go.
Yeah,
more.
If that on its own, like just that house, that kind of separate plot seemed interesting, but it's just the way that we got there, the way that it felt just like shoved into that episode, which is like, why is this here? Why did she randomly?
Because there's a spin-off coming.
Well, yeah, but that to me feels like that's not a natural plot
No,
device.
totally, yeah.
That felt very out of
Yeah,
place.
it's a special guest episode.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the Calder, the doctor from that episode, has already been recast as Timothy Dalton, which is fucking huge.
Whoa.
But it's
Good.
so weird that because it feels like all part of the one production. Like it's funny that already happened.
That makes sense to me because I genuinely didn't understand that, like, that doctor character. Very weird. I loved the all the different little characters in that house. The doctor, I wasn't.
Yeah, I couldn't tell how villainous they were trying to make him because he was like full on
Or how old
the
he's
bad
meant to
guy
be.
by the end. Yeah, he had like the weird talcum powder hair or something.
What about the handling of Batman in this? Because I thought that
Love
was
it.
one of the things that really drew me into it.
Yeah, I love it. Just the whole Dick's relationship with him.
Yeah.
The Jason Todd episode where they're acting like the ex and the current
Yeah,
boyfriend.
oh,
talking
so
to-
good.
So fucking good. And then just Batman himself, I thought was like, I liked the fact that he was just kind of this terrifying presence
Yeah.
that is just not really shown.
It's really like, if you think about the Batman character, right? A guy who comes from wealth, he falls down a well and he becomes this crazy dude who tries to ignite fear into villains. You know, you think of a pretty deranged character.
Yeah.
And I think in this one, not seeing him not being front and center and building a lot more mystique around him.
Seeing him from an outsider.
Yeah, it really was effective in being like, wow, Batman's a pretty fucked up dude.
Yeah.
I also think there's some practical limitations on casting Batman, particularly this early.
Totally.
I think that one of
sure.
the things I imagine that they're banking on, or maybe perhaps that they wanted to avoid, is they cast Batman as a relatively no-name actor because he's not going to get much screen time. You're not going to be able to attract many people to that. And then the series kicks off, and everyone really loves it. They renew for a second season, and then they're stuck with this kind of no-name as Batman.
But I feel like-
imagine like they would maybe have wanted to see where the series was going before they go.
There would have
"This
been
is
a lot of DC just being like I'm amazed they got to use this much Batman because with like Gotham and Arrow and stuff, DC is often just like, no, you can't have that character. You can't have Harley Quinn. And it's like, okay, fine. So yeah, I was really impressed that even though it was so sparingly used, that you actually do, like, you see Batman. He has a full action scene and everything. It was very, very cool.
Yeah. I would love to talk about episodes 9 and 11.
Yes.
But is there anything else you guys want to talk about in the earlier half of this film?
In
this film.
You guys
I'm
say
saying
film
film.
so much.
Oh yeah, no.
He's been
Hawk
saying
and Dove.
film.
The intro to Hawk I thought was really great. I had no idea it was that actor. Can't remember his name, but he's in a couple of things around. I thought he really did a good job on this. There are some ripped people in this series. Him in particular.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed their chemistry and the kind of depth behind that. That'll obviously come back into the fold a little bit later when we talk about the later episodes. But
The episode when you find out how Dove died, that was fucking intense.
Yeah.
Like
That was episode 9.
Yeah, you expect like some big, like, I don't know, like a villain comes along. No, it's just a fucking bust comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and
like, how
takes it
fucking
out.
crazy is
Like,
that?
holy shit.
That the camera angle right from the above, and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, did
and
that
that
just
was,
happen?
I felt like the weight got kind of taken out of that scene a little bit just by the fact that it was, again, just for my eyes, weird CGI of the car coming in, and then you're kind of like, wait, what just happened? And
I thought that was
just
quite
got
well
taken
done.
out.
It was so sudden as to almost be comedic. Like, it was so
Yeah.
shocking.
Yeah.
No, I thought it
but I
was
thought it was
just
very
like,
effective.
oh, like the carpet's pulled from under you. It's
Yeah.
like,
the
wow.
depth of that
Don't know how to react.
really kind of came out from the interaction of those characters afterwards. I
Yeah.
guess we're just jumping
Yeah, let's
straight
just
into
talk
9.
about
One of my favorite episodes of this
Yes.
entire series. And we were talking about them entering areas so unabashedly, like they're just, we're dealing with child rape in this one. Deal with it.
Yeah. And that's where, and the counter to the comic book colorfulness with the human elements, you know, that's what this is like. You're right, man. When do we see this? You know, when we talk about child molestation in this, but this guy's really messed up, and it's sad story.
It can almost come off as a trope. It has to be handled so carefully and so kind of meticulously, because you don't want it to come off as just a trope. Like, you know, I'm messed up because, you know, someone did something bad to me in my past. That can, like, if that's not handled the right way, then it's going to come off as just a lazy plot device. Whereas in this one, there was, again, really some depth into it. They had, you know, survivor's guilt come into it, a really strong aspect of someone not wanting to talk about the trauma that happened to them and shame and guilt and how that can affect you later on in life. Really, really impressive building of that character.
Yeah, I was so impressed with episode 9. I thought the relationship with Dove,
his brother,
Dawn. It gets very complex. You see some stuff earlier in the series with, and later on with her relationship with Dick Grayson. There's a lot of stuff involved with the webs between these characters, and it's fascinating stuff.
The show works such a fine line, and I think it walks it spectacularly between like these characters being like heroes and psychopaths, like where the line is, who goes too far. Like I love the handling of Jason Todd because he's a character with such a rich fucking history in comics. After where we see him at this stage in this show, and yeah, I like that. Like he comes across as like kind of a cocky dickhead, but then by the end you're like, fuck, this dude's a fucking sociopath. He's fucking scary.
A lot of complaints from DC people have been that Dick Grayson is too similar to Jason Todd in that he's quite violent in this. That to me, and they say that goes against the principles of this character, and it's the wrong interpretation and stuff. And I think if you come at this with less baggage, you're going to enjoy it more.
Yeah,
and also Dick kind of agrees.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't want to be this.
Yeah,
totally.
Which is pretty engaging, I think.
And I think that there's been enough iterations of these characters. I mean, we're talking about pretty trodden ground at this point. That I think it is time to do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't confirmed to be part of any other larger universe or anything like that. I mean, just let this be its own little thing.
Totally.
I mean, it's just if you want something straight out of the comic books, go read the comic books.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about where this series left off? Because quite notably, they've mentioned in interviews that they actually dropped an episode from the season.
Did they?
The last episode of this season that we saw was actually the second last episode of the season.
It's
really?
noticeable.
They're opening up with the finale in season 2.
Very noticeable.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I like the
it.
cliffhanger. Yeah,
I loved it.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it a little bit more if it had felt tonally appropriate. I feel like my first reaction when it finished was, I've missed an episode. It didn't feel like an ending, and it wasn't just a cliffhanger. It was like an abrupt stop. Like you haven't finished this arc, and I don't know why they did it. It wasn't. I was not in favor of that. I didn't feel like it added to the series by cutting it off like that.
I loved it.
Certainly left me wanting more.
I loved it.
I mean, sure, but
I thought, okay, so episode 8, you're sort of following the main thread. Episode 9, it goes to Hank and Dawn, and you're just exploring those guys. Then we go back to the main thread, and then episode 11, 5 years in the future, Robin's at his pad. We've got this alternate timeline. I was just like, this is going Evangelion on us, motherfuckers. Let's do this.
It was such a cool episode.
I loved that.
I loved how they constructed
that.
it. I loved how you were trying to figure out what was going on. I loved the evil dude just like slowly tweaking what was happening to just push him into a darker and darker place.
Every time he wanted to go, something happened that kept him there.
Yeah, like just... That was a super cool episode. I really wish they had, like, I did maybe even 5 minutes extra, or even in episode 10, setting up a little bit differently. I think would have been a really solid way to kind of cap that off. It's just missing something.
And
it was
how mess up was Gotham in this?
Loved
it.
Yeah,
loved how fucked up Batman was. Loved how a lot of people complained about the look of him in this. What did you guys think of Batman's? You've
But he's cool. He's better than the Gotham version of Batkid, certainly.
What does that look
I think,
like?
to be honest, I think he looks better than Affleck in Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
Or not Dawn of Justice. Sorry, Justice League.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he was only in there for a very small amount of time, and I really
we got
enjoyed
to see a cool classic
him?
Joker as well.
Is that Batman in Gotham?
Yeah, in his funny little
my
Gore-Tex
God.
jacket.
So
he's only a kid. But
Oh my God.
One of the things
That
I
show's
think
funny.
if we
That
just
show's
jump back
weird.
to episode 10, which is the last in the main plot line before we go into the dream sequence with Dick, I thought that I was both intrigued and happy with the fact that they kind of went balls to the wall. He's a demon. He's in another dimension. Shit is going off. Shit is weird. How fucking cool is this?
World Conqueror.
Oh,
and they show that
cool.
hologram of the actual like Trigon character.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, that's wicked.
I was like, oh, that's so cool. But then reflecting on it, I felt like these are kind of street level heroes. It feels weird to have that level of threat being dealt with these heroes. And I don't know, like there's just inevitably something in your brain that goes, where's Superman? Where's Batman? Like this is too big a threat to just be kind of being dealt with in this way. It'll really be time will tell with that, because how they deal with it in season 2, how long it goes. But yeah, I don't know. Like there's a common thing of when Spider-Man came to the MCU, he felt like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and that was a really good thing. I thought, like, just bring it back, scale it back a little bit. Like that's fine. I
guess so. With what you're saying, it's kind of like in Suicide Squad, where you've got Harley Quinn fighting an all-powerful being with a baseball bat. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's really dumb. I think it works for me in this one just because of the familial connection, like Raven and Trigon. That's where the series always had to go. Maybe not as like a season 1 thing, but yeah. But
I think I would have been a bit more appreciative if that had always been in the background, like the risk of Raven, unleashing the world. I thought that would have been a cool thing. Like you're a street level crime fighter that could probably end the world. I think that would have been good to have something that in the background. Bringing it out as the main kind of villain in season 1 and moving on to season 2 feels a bit abrupt to me, and just kind of.
But again, that's the balls to the wall nature that I kind of love about this show, because they just diving straight in, and with the fucking post-credit scene of this season, which
what was did I miss the
means maybe less to you guys than me, but yeah, it opens at Star Labs or Project Cadmus, and you just see fucking Superboy Connor Kent get out of a pod with a Superman logo tattooed on his chest, and he goes and finds fucking, I assume, Crypto, Superman's dog. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're getting Kryptonian now. This series just fucking leveled up. I'm so keen.
Yeah. We haven't talked about Wonder Girl either. I thought that was just fun.
Her,
she was great.
Great interactions with Dick.
Yeah, I didn't know whether she was going to be Batgirl at the beginning, or more of a bat orientated character, I guess you would call it. But she was
one of the Bat family.
Yeah, she was Wonder Girl, and the lasso looked great.
Yeah,
and once again, just fun world building.
We should have mentioned this in non-spoilers. I think the action in the series was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, really good. So well choreographed. Really exciting stuff.
Yeah. Anything else, guys?
Look, I think overall this series again exceeded a lot of expectations. I hope that they tighten up some of the plot stuff in season 2, which I'm very excited for.
I'm so glad there's one announced.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I love this DC streaming platform, even if we don't have it here. But I love that they're just creating original stuff for it now. It feels like it's so less serving studio masters,
and it very much feels like they've found their own rhythm as opposed to trying to copy Marvel with what they're doing, which is a really integrated universe, which I think is its own thing, and it's really cool. But I love that DC's like, we don't really need that. Let's
totally agree.
Let's just build a lot of stuff, and I think if DC commits to that, I'm 100% on board. I think they should just fuck off the Justice League type shit. Focus on individual characters. Maybe have some team up buddy movies, but that should be it. I'm on board.
The one thing I think that could really be cool for DC at this point is go full comic book, and fuck having a cinematic universe. Have a cinematic multiverse. It could be so cool if they did a movie that just brought in all the fucking CW and like it would be so
Power
weird.
Rangers.
It would be sure.
I would
all the
honestly
Jokers next to each other.
love to see the CW people come in to the Titans universe and just get royally fucked over by like how Darius like, who are you hooking up with this season? Be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then just like smoke him in the face or something. Just something really brutal like that. That's also something we didn't talk about. Chemistry between Dick Grayson and Starfire. Did that seem a bit like there's a common
I like how
plot.
casual it was.
Yeah, there's a common line through this that Dick Grayson is like
Dick fucks, man.
Yeah, I was like, he's like the kryptonite for women or something. Like his interaction with that woman at the head of at the hotel was why is this here? Like,
I know.
Other than to show you how fuckable Dick Grayson is. Like, I don't understand.
And he is, man. He totally is.
Oh, he's ripped and all that, but I was just like, don't understand.
I hope
So
they
bad for
keep
that
it
woman.
casual between them, and I hope they just presented as like, they're autonomous and if they want to fuck, they can fuck. And
Yeah,
then the
super
next day they don't
sex positive.
need
I
to
like that.
fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
It was definitely an interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved that common thread of there goes Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
Just a quick shout out to Clint Mansell as well and Kevin Kiner, who were the composers on this. I honestly was blown away with their work, and I think really kept the pedigree across all dimensions of this, from sound to visuals to performance, etc., etc. Just rounded it off really nicely. Well, that's it, guys. That's our Titans review. Let us know if you've seen it. We'd love to hear from you. Are you excited for season 2? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were your favorite parts? And let us know in the comments or on the social medias. We'll be back next week with some more movie antics with the boys Connor,
Yeah.
Benny.
Bye.